Hey, ducks.
This is kind of balm therapy, isn't it?
It is. It's lovely.
Lovely, so relaxing.
Yeah.
All right, that's enough of the ducks. Back to work.
In the repair shop today, Steve's precision workmanship
Just get down to the right level.
brings a clock back from the brink.
And just take little bits off at a time. It's all done by eye.
You need the double glasses for this.
While Brenton gets hot and bothered, trying to resurrect a mythical creature.
This is a moment of concern for me because I could melt these two bits of brass and ruin them.
But first, John Hughes and his daughter Jessica have come to the repair shop from Maidenhead in Berkshire with an item steeped in their South African family history.
Hello, how we doing?
All right, yourself.
I'm very good, I'm Jay.
They're hoping leather expert Susie Fletcher can rescue their prized possession.
So what have you got in your hands then, John?
I've got a satchel that my grandfather brought back with him from the Second World War.
Okay.
He brought it back for my great-grandmother. So what had actually happened is my great-grandmother sent him to go buy a loaf of bread. Instead of going to go buy the loaf of bread, he jumped on a bus and went and signed up to go to the war.
Oh, hold on. He got sent out for a loaf of bread and he went to war?
Went to war, yeah.
How old was he then?
He was 6 months short of being allowed to join the military.
So she must have been worried sick.
She was. She didn't know where he got to.
And nobody knew.
No one knew,
anything.
no one said anything, and he just left. And how she found out that he had gone off to war, him and a mate of his had a postcard made and sent it back, because they both were from the same town.
Right.
Had a postcard made, sent the postcard back, and she saw it, and then she realised that, look, he was going off to war.
Yeah, he wasn't down the shops, he's gone to war.
Yeah, and off he went.
Did you ever ask him why he was so intent on going to war?
He said it was his duty.
Okay.
He said it was his duty.
A lot of men felt
You know,
that, yeah,
and
they're due.
but you know their generation, they were different.
They're
weren't-
built different.
Yeah,
yeah.
they were saving the world,
Yeah.
you know.
So, from going out to the shops, then being in the war, how did he get hold of this then?
So what happened with that is,
Yeah.
when he was in the war, they were up in North Africa with the Allied forces.
Yeah.
So they made their way up to Cairo.
Okay.
He wanted to buy his mother something because of what he had done.
He wanted to make up for it.
He wanted to make up for it, yeah.
Okay.
So what he did was he went into one of those markets in Cairo,
Yeah.
got the satchel. As he walked out of the market, a bomb went off, and he took shrapnel. And if you notice on here, see that?
Yeah. What's
That's blood from him, with the way he was holding it.
So did he get back home? Did he?
Yeah, so what happened was when my grandfather walked in, she just let him have it. She let him have it.
Well, she told him off. Rightfully so.
Yeah, I'm sure she chucked a few things at him. She was quite feisty, I've got to be honest.
You can't go out for a loaf of bread and then go to war and then not expect to be told off by your mum.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Maybe he thought she was going to give him cuddles, I don't know.
No. We could talk all day. But what would you like Susie to do to him?
So there used to be a mirror in here, and that's come out.
Okay.
And the zippers have gone on it. And I think it's like you can see the leather lacing in that.
Yeah.
It might just need to be refreshed out.
Yeah.
It is rather beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's,
I mean the artwork on it. If you look at the
Exactly,
Yeah.
yes. It really is a beautiful piece. So with the case here, and you're saying that these are blood stains, do you want me to try and remove them?
No.
Or what? Okay,
No,
okay.
please don't. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's part of it. You know,
Okay. And there also looks to be that perhaps there was some sort of
So there was a strap there.
a strap, like a handle?
That's it, yeah, like a handbag nearly type thing.
Okay.
So why do you want to get it repaired now then?
So we can have it longer. It's part of our history. And it's something to remember my grandfather by. Yeah. And what type of man he was. Because I'd like to give it to my daughter.
Oh.
And she's the only child I got, so it has to happen.
So how do you feel about being custodian of the bag?
Well, it really interests me, like, to have physically a piece of history.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in family. I love being around my family and knowing you know, the past, and I want everybody to know it as well.
Thank you for bringing this in and telling us the stories. I'm sure Susie's going to work her magic on this one.
Brilliant.
So thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Right, take care now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Wow.
Absolutely brilliant.
It is.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I think my granddad would be over the moon, especially knowing that it's going to get handed down from generation to generation. And those stories will stay in the family, and the family members from the past will be remembered. Because I feel that's a big part of any family, that you remember the ones before you.
Now that was a story.
Yeah.
Out for a loaf of bread, gone off to war.
And get blown up.
And get blown up. But also, remembering to buy Mum a present.
But I bet she gave him a walloping. I'm sure in the end she forgave him because this is a beautiful bag. And I love all of this embossing that's on it. It's really very pretty. The leather actually feels remarkably good.
It feels really nice.
Isn't it?
I mean, it's so soft.
If you consider what it has been through, it's like, okay. The zip needs to be replaced.
Okay.
And I believe there was a mirror.
A mirror. All right, let's get it to your bench.
Susie's first job is removing the old broken zip and sewing in a new one with the help of an old friend.
So this is Pearl. She's a Singer boot patch machine. The unique aspect of Pearl is the foot can turn 360 degrees. So I think it's going to be really helpful in this particular job. Now my concern with Pearl is that she doesn't always behave herself. We have a little bit of a fight from time to time. This is going to be particularly awkward to sew in because I haven't got much room to get the foot in, and I've got the weight of the bag pulling against everything. This is where you have to be a little bit ambidextrous. Well done, Pearl. So let's see if this zip's going to work. Yeah, see, that's why I love her. She does what she needs to do when she has to do it.
Susie and Pearl may be winning with the 1940s satchel, but outside, two visitors have arrived with another wartime story. Wendy and Michael Ellis are hoping clockmaker Steve Fletcher can fix a cherished family heirloom.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello there.
How you doing?
I'm Wendy.
I'm Jay.
Hi, Jay. Mick.
Mick, all right, Mick?
Hi, how are you?
How you doing, Wendy? Likewise. What have you got for us then?
One Victorian slate clock.
Looks heavy.
It is heavy.
All right. So, tell us about it.
It was in my grandparents' pub. They used to have a pub in Lydd in Romney Marsh in Kent.
Were they the landlord and landlady of the pub?
Yes, Cliff and Mabel Cole, yes. The pub, the Rising Sun, which had been my granddad's family for 100 years or so. All through my childhood, every summer we used to go down to stay with the grandparents. So I can remember the pub from when I was very small. In the war, in 1940, it was September, my grandma caught one of the first spies that landed in Kent.
Caught them? She caught a spy?
Yes.
What, red hat? Well, hold on.
Grabbed them or...?
Rewind the tape. How did she catch a spy?
This very tall chap comes along, all dressed in black and spoke with an American accent.
Right.
And he certainly wasn't a local.
Okay.
And he started asking questions like about troop movements and things like this. Yeah. And she was a bit suspicious. My granddad went and spoke to a couple of RAF men in another part of the bar.
Yeah.
And he just sort of said, we think this chap's a bit dodgy.
Yeah.
He got taken away and interrogated.
Was he arrested then?
Yeah. He was
Went to
arrested.
Pentonville.
So he was a spy then?
He was a spy.
So there you are. It ticked while they spied.
Yes.
Right, okay. So basically what you're saying is this clock has seen a lot. So, I wonder what else it's seen.
I'd like it to see some more.
If you get it to bits, ask it. It might tell you.
It might tell us a tale or two. So what's actually wrong with it then?
It's never really worked properly.
Right.
It will go for an hour or two.
Is it
It
not?
just won't go for any length of time. And it's got a lovely chime to it.
Sometimes the sound of a clock is almost as important as the timekeeping.
Yes.
And a lot of people say that just takes me back, you know, when they hear that sound
The
again.
chime of it. I'd really like to hear it chiming again.
Would you reckon this, Steve? Have you seen one of these before?
Yes.
You have?
Yeah.
Is there not a clock you haven't seen?
Not many.
All right.
These are really good quality French clocks. Very underrated.
It's French, yeah.
Oh yes, yeah. And it's late Victorian.
Okay.
And it should, when it's working, it will work fantastically.
Look forward to it.
Thank you for bringing this in.
Thank you.
Story of the Spy is just brilliant. As soon as it's done, we'll get back in contact.
Look forward to it, Steve. Thank you.
Take care now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. It's quality, isn't it? Hey?
It is the things that scene, eh?
My grandma and granddad would be astonished if they knew I'd still got that old clock. It's going to make me feel very nostalgic if I hear it chime. I'm going to be back in the pub again, I think, back in my childhood, and I'm quite hopeful that we will.
So I'm just going to pop the mechanism out now and have a look at that. It's almost like a detective story when you take a clock apart like this. There's actually all the fingerprints from a previous person that's taken this clock apart. I would suggest not a clockmaker because we try not to get fingerprints on any clocks. Also, this hammer is missing its leather pad as well, so when it hits the gong, it would be metal to metal and really sound very tinny. So I'll put a leather in there, and that'll make the strike nice and mellow. There's one particularly bad pivot here, which is very, very black and dirty. That will almost certainly be worn. Right, so I'm just going to take the mechanism apart. This is the point where I actually look at every single tooth in the clock, just to make sure it's not bent or worn. Because the slightest bend on any of the teeth will stop a clock.
As Steve busies himself checking hundreds of tiny clock components, his sister Susie is working on a new handle for the war-weathered satchel.
The handle is an interesting little design, very simple. It's a flat handle that has an arrowhead so that when it passes through the loop of the leather, the arrowhead opens up and that stops it from pulling out. I've got some leather here that is a really close match to this colour. It's always nice when I find that I've got some leather in my store that is going to complement an item that I'm working on, because sometimes it can look a little bit too new and doesn't necessarily blend in nicely. Okay, that's good. The next thing that the satchel's needing is the lacing replaced. A lot of it is missing. It's got very fragile and snapped. So the interesting thing about using leather to lace leather together is that it was probably one of the earliest forms of attaching leather to leather. When you think about leather being used as clothing, you would have had little strands left over that would make sense because there wasn't cotton. So I've got this lovely thin leather
Having cut the new leather to the right width, Susie dyes it to match the remaining lacing, meaning her repairs will seamlessly blend in with the original.
I'm just finishing up putting the new lacing in on one side, but before I go any further, I've got a new piece of mirror. This acrylic mirror should be able to take lots of knocks and bangs without smashing. So the first thing I need to do is to go ahead and glue this in place. I'm just putting a piece of leather in here because I don't want the contact cement gluing it all together. Now I can slide the piece of acrylic mirror along this piece of leather whilst I get this in position. So pretty much got one shot at getting this right to get it nice and equal all the way around. Okay, I'm happy with that position, and now I can pull this leather out. There we go. So that's nicely in place.
Next, a mythical beast in need of some TLC. Alan Brooke and husband Rennie from Plymouth are hoping Silversmith Brenton West can restore a family treasure.
Hello.
Hello.
How are we doing? I'm Jay.
I'm Alan.
Oh, Alan.
I'm Rennie.
All right, Rennie.
Hi.
Hi. So, do you have something for us? Yeah,
Yes.
What's in the box?
My sea serpent.
A sea serpent.
Well, that's what I call it anyway. It's a cross between a turtle and a dragon or something like that.
Yeah.
It belonged to my great-grandfather, whose name was Walter Wardell, and a mechanical engineer, and he made it.
He made this?
Yes.
Wow. Was that his hobby or his job?
I think it was more his hobby rather than his job. And that was one of the few things that survived the bombing in the war.
So this has seen a lot of history now.
Yeah, no.
My father, I believe, knew it as the pen stand that it was because he tried to repair it. He put the pins in.
Okay. How was it as a pen stand?
I have no idea.
I wouldn't know it was a pen holder unless you told me.
So what do you know about your great-grandfather Walter then?
I know that he died in 1911.
Right.
He died of blood poisoning when a filing got into his eye from something he was making.
Oh.
And really, that's why this is so special, because the only thing I've got from my great-grandfather, and for them to have held on to it must have meant something.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And where does it sit in the house then?
Currently on a shelf at the back.
It looked a bit sorry for itself, and so it's never really been on display.
On display,
But it would be
Too
nice
much.
to have it
Yes.
functional and four-legged again, wouldn't it?
Functional, four-legged, standing up.
Yeah. So what would you like us to do to it then?
So a new leg put onto it.
This leg is missing.
Yeah, and the leg is missing. The legs are bent, and also if you were able to come up with an idea of how it would look as a pen stand for one or two pens to lay on.
Thank you for bringing it in.
Thanks very much.
And once it's finished, or Brenton's worked his magic, we'll get back to you.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thanks very much indeed.
All right.
Nice
Thank
to
you.
meet
Take
you.
care now. Bye-bye.
I think the sea serpent has been grumbling away in the back of the cupboard for long enough, really, and it's about time it came out. I'm feeling a little bit nervous leaving the sea serpent behind, but hopefully it's going to look really good when it's finished.
It never ceases to amaze me, the things we get through these stories. Just unreal.
I know, Alan's great-grandfather Walter must have had a hell of an imagination to be able to come up with something like that.
Well, you have a little play. If there's anything I can do to
Well, I
help
will
you.
need some brass, some brass sheets, but I'll let you know the size and everything when I know.
No problem. I need
Okay.
to get it over to you eventually.
Okay. So I've been looking at Alan's sea serpent, and what I was thinking of was to make it a bit fancy, rather than just soldering a bit of tube on there. I'm going to design something to match the fancy work that Alan's great-grandfather had done on this. There isn't actually that much foot missing, so I'm going to get a small piece of brass and carve another foot for it and solder that onto the leg there. The bent front legs, this metal will be brittle, and I'm concerned that if I try and bend these down, they'll just snap off. I've now got to get the threaded parts out that Alan's father put into the sea serpent. I'm hoping these aren't going to break off there. Just going to give them, with my parallel pliers, a bit of a turn. That one's coming out, so I'm really pleased. Both of these are playing the game, so I'm pleased about that.
While Brenton battles the sea serpent, Steve's reached the next stage of his restoration of the spy catcher's clock.
Just putting the clock bits in the cleaning fluid.
This is the first step in lifting decades of dirt and grime from the clock's mechanics. Leaving Steve free to address its lacklustre exterior.
Because it's made of slate, it can go very, very dull. What I do is I put a wax polish on and build up more and more layers of polish. And eventually you build up a super, super polish. Right, this is one of the best bits. It's when you take the stuff out of the cleaning tank and you start cleaning it up. This is the bit that takes time. So that's come up really, really well. It's beautiful. That's the way it would have been when it was new. Back in the day that these were made, they were just made by hand. And the clockmaker 100 years ago, 120 years ago, will have spent hours just making a small component like this. I have so much respect for the people of old that used to do this sort of work.
With the clock parts now gleaming, Steve's focus shifts to getting it ticking again.
The pivot of this clock is very, very worn, and it's probably one of the main reasons why this clock is not working correctly. The problem with a worn pivot like that is that the teeth of the wheels actually roll round each other. They don't rub on each other. But if the distance is incorrect, the teeth will rub on each other, it will cause wear, and it will be inefficient and can stop the clock. I need to put it in the lathe, turn it up, and polish the pivot itself. Just get down to the right level. And just take little bits off at a time. It's all done by eye. Yeah, that's done. And that gets quite a nice finish on the pivot, but it's reduced it in size. And the problem, if I put this into the clock as it is, the pivot's going to be very baggy and it won't work efficiently at all. So I need to put a plug of brass into that hole with a hole in it so that it's nice and tight. I'm almost there now. You can feel as you're cutting it, actually. Yeah, that's good. Right, that's all ready now, and I'll pop it into the place. Just check and see whether the pivot goes in there nicely, which it does, and the teeth should work really efficiently now.
Steve must now rebuild the clock, fitting the hundreds of tiny components back together. Only once it's whole again will he find out if his repair has truly worked.
That's great. Whenever you get a mechanism together and it's got a nice lively tick like this, it's always a good feeling. You think, yeah, that's going to go well.
Over the other side of the workshop, Susie's work on the wartime leather satchel is almost complete. There's just one job remaining, a very careful clean of the leather.
With this particular leather, it's probably sheep or goat in origin. I'm not sure how it's going to behave as I go into cleaning it. What can happen with a leather like this that has been embossed, if I get it too wet, the embossing could actually start to flatten out because that's done through moisture and heat. So I have to be aware of that point. Main concern with the whole cleaning process over anything else is not to affect the blood stains at all. So I think the first thing I should do is just start with just plain water. The area where the blood stains are, I want to go around that area with a great deal of caution. I feel once I finish doing this last stage and I'm able to hand it back to John and Jessica, they're going to be so proud to be able to pass this on to future generations, keeping that story alive of all that danger that John's grandfather faced through joining up and fighting for his country.
John and his daughter Jessica have returned to be reunited with the bag that is a tangible reminder of their South African family history.
The satchel is important to us because it's something to remember my grandfather by and the story that's behind it and what he did in the Second World War. We're hoping it's all okay and we can't wait to see it. Hello.
How are we doing, Jessica?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Okay.
You?
John, right?
You?
Yeah,
Hi,
very
good
good.
to see you.
You look happy.
Yeah. I'm very happy. I'm actually anxious. I want to see what it looks like.
You want to see what it looks like?
Yeah.
Quite excited.
Okay. Should we just let him see it?
Yeah, let's just let
Go on then. Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
Holy moly. That is... Wow. Look at that. That is excellent.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay. I don't know how to explain. This is... You don't know what this means to us, honestly. We've been looking for someone for a long time to do this.
Yeah.
And you know, after my grandfather passed away and my father passed away, I was too scared to give it to anybody. Honestly, I was. But Sue, I don't know how to thank you. You did a magnificent job, honestly.
Thank you.
It's how I remember it when I was a kid.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's had the Susie treatment.
This is incredible. I mean, it was falling apart. And how's yours?
I know.
Oh.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That is incredible. Thanks a lot.
You're
John.
really very welcome.
It's been a pleasure.
Right.
Enjoy
Guys,
it.
take care.
Take care now.
Cheers,
okay?
Bye.
Bye-bye. No, well done you, man.
Yeah, that's what we want.
I'm just so happy that it's fixed. It's very dear to us. We might be long forgotten, but the satchel will carry on our legacy, which I'm very happy about. I'm over the moon.
Over at his workbench, Brenton is reimagining how this sea serpent made of metal was once a pen holder.
My idea was I've made some attempts of pen holders that are going to go in the sea serpent. I put those in there. These are just going to be balanced there. And then we're going to see if a pen sits in it. And that was the sort of idea that I had. I'm just going to cut down this tube to make some semicircles to hold the pens. sure they line up. Okay, I need the double glasses for this. You've got to be a little bit careful with brass because its melting temperature is well within the heat of this torch. I could melt these two bits of brass and ruin them. See if I've done a good job or not. I'll just turn that over. Happy with that. So that's nicely soldered now. Now I've got to solder the bar onto it that's then going to be bent over to go into the back of the tortoise. So that's soldered up now. I just have to let that cool down and I can clean that up and get it ready to fit into the sea serpent. It's like I can feel it bending, so this is not going to be a huge drama. So that's one done. It looks brilliant. I'm really, really, really chuffed with that. I hope Alan likes it too.
The next stage is for Brenton to recreate the unsteady beast's missing foot.
I've got a piece of brass. I'm going to put the existing foot on there and draw around it with a scriber. To make the sea serpent whole again, it needs this foot. It looks silly without it. I think this is nearly had enough taken off it so I can start to fit it up to the stump of the leg. So that's ready to be soldered now. But before I do that, I'm going to straighten the bent other legs. Now the problem I've got with those is because this is old brass, will be very brittle, I need to anneal them, which means heating them up. And what that does is it relaxes the molecules in the metal and makes it soft, and then see if I can bend them straight. This is a moment of concern for me. I just don't want this leg to snap off. Fingers crossed. Something's happening. So that leg is actually quite good now. He's up in the air, so I'll do that to that one. I am actually having to bang quite hard on that. Now I've just got to get that one up. This is the one that worries me because it's so much thinner than all the rest. I'm gaining confidence now. This is when I snap a foot off, I suppose. I'm incredibly relieved that that was something that was sort of preying on me, that I was going to snap another leg off, and it didn't, so I'm pleased.
Brenton has conquered the sea serpent, and Steve is also on the home straight with his assignment, the spy catcher's clock.
That's great. As soon as you hang a pendulum on a clock and it goes off with a lively tick straight away, you know it's going to be absolutely fine. I just need to pop a small piece of leather into the end of this hammer now so that you get a nice mellow sound of the gong. I'm the wrong way to cut leather, but that's the way I've always done it. So I just screw that in and I'll just snip it off now, and then it'll be the right length. If it didn't have the leather on there, it would be metal to metal and really sound very tinny. This will make it sound beautifully mellow. Just see if the gong sounds sweet or not. Lovely, nice mellow sound. I'm sure Wendy's going to be really happy with that. Hopefully that's the sound she remembers from when she was a child. Let's keep my fingers crossed.
Eager to see if Steve has managed to get the precious clock up and ticking, are owners Wendy and Michael.
The clock is a link with my grandparents, and it's a link to family history as well. So I'm looking forward to hearing it again and seeing it work.
Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
Nice to see you again.
Yeah, likewise.
Hi, Jay.
How you doing? You all right?
Not too bad, thank you. Hi, Steve.
Cool.
The grand reveal.
Oh, is that what you're hoping for?
Pristine, shining, ticking, chiming.
He don't want much, does he? Oh, dear. You sure? What do you reckon, Steve? Should we let him see?
Okay, yeah. Right, you ready? There we go.
Oh, it's cracking, isn't it? Look at the sheen on that.
Oh, yes, it's really shiny.
It is, isn't it? You've got to shine.
Yeah. Well, I'm chuffed to bits
That's really
with that.
good. That's really
Do you like
good.
that, Wendy, yeah?
Let's hit the chime. Come on, let's.
Okay, do you want to move the hand round to...
Can we?
Just move it.
Gently.
That's it.
That's really good.
That's lovely.
That's all history chiming, isn't it? That's really, really good.
It takes me back to, well, when I was little in the pub.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's kind of got that nice echoey sound to it. Love it. It's great. Thank you so much. I'm just so pleased that it's so shining and so looks so good.
And working.
And working.
Right.
Yes, it's family history, that.
Yes. It's been a real pleasure to work on.
Has he done a good job?
Gorgeous.
I think he has.
Yeah?
Gorgeous.
Yeah. That clock, it's been through the First World War, it's been through the Depression, it saw the spire during the Battle of Britain, it's been banged in a box and falling to bits, and now Steve's put it back to how it should be.
Got a new lease of
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
The chime was really the thing that I wanted to hear again. And it really brings back childhood memories now. It's got a lovely sound to it, and it's so nice to hear it again.
In the depths of the workshop, the sea serpent penholder is almost finished.
So finally I get to solder the foot on. So let's put some flux on the foot. Okay, I think that's flowed through now. It's gone together well. Great. So that's nicely polished up. The foot is attached, the other feet have been straightened up. And I've now got to have the final fitting of the two pen holders. There we go. Let's just see if these two pencils fit in. There we go. Now Alan can put that on his desk and hopefully enjoy it for years to come.
The restoration of Alan's treasured item is complete, and it's time for him to be reunited with the curio, handcrafted by his great-grandfather.
The sea serpent is very important to me because of my childhood. I have no idea what it's going to look like. I gave Brenton carte blanche. A bit excited, really, to find out what he's done.
Hello.
Hello.
How are we doing?
Fine, thank you very much.
Alan, all
nice
right?
to see you again. Fine.
Right.
Got a smile on.
Yeah.
Yes.
What were you expecting to see?
At least if he's managed to get some of his raw back, then I'll be very happy. And take me back to my childhood, hopefully.
All right.
Well, should we do this then?
Yes, let him see.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's amazing. That doesn't look like anything I imagined it was going to look like.
Hopefully in a good way.
Oh, yeah. I am so pleased. Thank you so
Good.
much. That really is special.
Thank you.
And the leg, well, I would never know it was broken now.
Yeah.
And he's actually standing straight. Amazing. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
Really appreciate
It's
that.
a pleasure.
Well done, man.
It's a
Well
pleasure.
done.
He looks like he's got wings now.
Yeah.
So he can take off and fly as well as swim in the sea. Yeah, great.
Well, it's a mythical creature, so we're keeping it a bit mythical.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do with it now?
It's going to sit on my desk at home with my pens in it. And then we can all remember my great-granddad Wardle with that as well.
Yeah. So it's all yours now. You can take him up.
You sure I can take him away?
Yeah, go on.
Yes. Alan, thank you for bringing it in.
Thank you, Brenton.
It's been a pleasure.
Dinner.
Cheerio.
Cheerio.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Think you like that?
He loved it. He
He
sounded
did,
like a little
I know.
baby.
Precious.
Yeah. Well done, you.
Thank you.
Ah, good one.
I'm really happy. It's so good. Other people might just regard it as a piece of metal that sits on a table, but I see it as really quite special. It's definitely got its roar back, and it can carry on roaring into the next generation of our family.